Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. My name is Yori Folarin. Straight off the bat, apologies for coming behind schedule. We hope to be able to make up for it. Okay, therefore, no time at all to spare. Our topic this morning is going to be, we're going to be looking at crude oil theft and corruption, because we'll be speaking very shortly with someone who knows about this, because we look at corruption and Nigeria's well-being. If $17 billion worth of crude oil, it's actually more than that, but people are, trying to be cautious. They say it's over $17 billion worth of undeclared sale of petroleum products, Nigerian petroleum crude, I beg your pardon, not products, petroleum crude, to the U.S. and other countries. Now, that's a very nice chunk of change. And to talk to us about this is Honorable Ehezua Agbaima, who is a federal commissioner, head of monitoring, in fact, Code of Conduct Bureau. Honorable Ehezua, good morning to you, and thank you for making time for us.
Good morning to you, and good morning to all our viewers out there. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now, first of all, I wanted to sort of set the premise up. If we're saying that at least $17 billion worth, it might be more, of undeclared sale of Nigerian crude to the U.S. and other countries, where did this information come from in the first place? I mean, was it as a result of a whistleblower, or I also included in your title here, Head of Monitoring, Code of Conduct Bureau. Does this come under your purview?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, it didn't just something that started today. It's been ongoing for so many years. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay, thank you. It started, okay, good. It started so many years ago. When I was in the House of Rep during the 8th session, and I happened to have been able to, information is very important. Information gathering, intelligence gathering. And before coming to the National Assembly as at then, once upon a time, I was a consultant to the National Assembly during the time of my Senate President Chuba Okadigbo, and my friend, my brother in the House of Rep, that was West Idahosa, who happened to be the chairman of House Committee on Petroleum then. I have been very much interested about our dear nation. That was when I was living in America then. But coming back home, I haven't been a member of House of Rep, and I decided to look in-depthly to see what is really going on in our dear nation in the oil sector. And to shock you to understand that many people were very much interested as well, like me. That was when our brother Tom Polo initiated an idea, and proposed, an idea to Mr. President, the then President Jonathan, to undertake, to conduct at least a forensic investigation, into the, oil theft in this country. Because people were talking about bunkering, a lot of the militants doing bunkering. But the major bunker are those, taking undeclared crude oil to global destination. And at the end of the day, Mr. President, former President Jonathan, set up a committee, and in that committee, he was there, the vice president, and all the governors from the Niger Delta happened to be in that meeting. So he took it upon himself to say, well, he must go ahead to investigate. But even people were saying that he should investigate from 1999 to present, but he said, no, let me investigate my own tenure. So that was how he approached the then Minister of Petroleum, Desiani. At the time, Desiani was not, she was opposed to it, but Tompolo stood his ground that it must go on. And at the end of the day, the government took it upon themselves to engage Molecular Power System, Nigeria Limited, who later engaged a foreign firm, Lomos, out of the United States, precisely Houston, to undertake to conduct a mapping forensic audit to see how all these ships that left the shore of Nigeria to global destination, at the end of the day, it will surprise you that the end result was shocking. That what landed in the United States alone was over 391 million barrels, amounting to over $17 billion, just the U.S. alone. And the government wanted the molecular power system to engage 51 countries, but they were able to conduct the investigation into 41 countries. And those 41 countries that they investigated, the report was made, presented to the government then, and nothing has happened. So I said, well, I studied the case, I looked at the document, I went to US, met with the molecular power system, went and met with the Lomos and my dear Nigerians. You can imagine what is leaving the soil of this country. Every ship leaving all over the world can be monitored in their control room. And I was able to collect information from a very wonderful Nigerian who happened to be one of the engineer working with a Lumos company out of Houston, Texas. And with the collection and data collection from the U.S. Custom, because U.S. Custom gave comprehensive details the crude oil that left Nigeria to the United States through Port of Houston and Port of Lake Charles, totaling over 391 million barrels. And at the end of the day, we complain that we are broke, Nigeria have no money. This crude sold, money deposited in the same foreign account. Now, all these years, nobody have taken the initiative. Even the motion that I moved as at that time, that motion is still here, which is clear. Urgent need to investigate the over $17 billion stolen from undeclared crude oil and liquefied natural gas export to global destination. This took place in 2016.
That goes back to your time in the House of Representatives.
Yes. Correct.
And this was the 8th session.
And 8th session. Correct. And the speaker then, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, supported me and with other leaders of the House of Rep then. And of course, our leader then was Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, who was very, very supportive. I have to appreciate every one of them who gave me the moral support. And at the end of the day, it was investigated, report made, and I'll tell you this, in fairness, the government, the present government, under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, took it upon themselves to sue these companies. They sued some of these companies. Okay. And they engaged Nigerian lawyers. Nigerian lawyers. But unfortunately, some of these lawyers, the really will of progress in moving forward, that the lead counsel to this case was Anthony Jerome Stanley from United States, who later told me, after traveling to US to go and have a very serious meeting with him, he said that he's not coming back to Nigeria again. I said, why? He said, because the Nigerian government, the lawyer that they engaged to even help the government, have decided to sabotage the case. So the only way out is to take the litigation to the United States of America. That is the only way we can have a headway.
Before you proceed, you were saying that at the origin of this matter, the then Minister of Petroleum, Diezani, was not for the investigation. She actually was against it. But
yeah, she opposed the investigation. But at least the Mr. President then
insisted.
Took it upon himself to do the needful. Yeah.
Any particular, do you have an understanding of why she would have opposed the investigation since it was her responsibility, and if there was any matter about, Nigeria is losing money, surely she should want to know about it and get to the bottom of it. Do you have any notion at all as to why she might have opposed that kind of an investigation?
But I think that question, well, I think is I want to appreciate your question, but what is important now is the way forward. Even though she opposed it, the former president stood his ground. And that is why the matter went forward. And Tom Polo said that it must be done, and it came to pass. So I don't want to dwell, whether the reason why she opposed it or not. Yes, the investigation went on, and the end result, the report was conducted, and I would have expected by now, after 7 years, I have been invited to the House of Rep to come and throw more light on the looted, undeclared crude oil that left our soil to global destination. Yeah. Unfortunately, Nigeria, we are highly blessed by God. Natural resources, mineral resources, human capacity. God has given us everything, but we have been our worst enemy. Okay. Nigeria today is bleeding. We say we have no money. Nigeria is highly blessed. Nigeria is rich. So there's no reason for us to be complaining that we have no money. Our money is outside the country, stolen by the cabal. It is the same Nigerians that connive with the IOC, International Oil Companies, and some Nigerian companies. And unfortunately, NLPC have to come out clean. I'm sorry to say this. I've been saying this over the years, and I believe one day somebody will understand where I'm coming from. Because if we have all these resources,
just alluding to there,
there's no reason our youth.
Are you alluding to the fact that there's a lot of stuff, inside knowledge, by which I mean knowledge, within the NNPC that they have to come clean about? Did I understand you properly? Was that what you meant?
I'm very clear on that. I've been saying this over the years.
You see, what we have a problem here, don't we, Honorable?
I've been saying this over the years.
We have a problem, don't we, Honorable?
We have a serious problem.
NNPC, as you say, following your investigations and research, they need to come clean about certain aspects of this to help the investigation. The minister in charge at the time, you said, let's leave that in the past. She was not for it. Thank God the president stood his ground. The Nigerian lawyer that was sent across to, go and help process this investigation instead was actually sabotaging it. The man, the legal lead counsel at Lumos that you were dealing with, he has declared, I'm not going back to Nigeria because of his experience when he came here. So that just goes to show that, as you probably are saying, that Nigerians can sometimes be their worst enemies. But people will say, this is investigation now, and you can't run away with some kind of notions without there being investigated, yet the investigation is proving almost impossible. But it's not impossible. There still is a way, is there not? If we can't get it from here, that is to say, if we can't proceed with the investigation from here, how about the companies or the entities that are actually buying this stolen crude coming from Nigeria? Because you just told me that there's a record of all crude arrivals, where they came from, what ship is loading them. Is that the next port of call to now shift this investigation to the U.S., even though we've been longer at this? I think you mentioned all of this was during the 8th Senate, and you said this has been going on for 7 years now. You haven't been invited to come and present to the National Assembly.
I was just invited this past week by the National Assembly, which I have to honor the invitation, because at least that was a step in the right direction. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been invited now. But in terms of, well, I imagine that you will be given a much more detailed version of what you've just shared with, our viewers here as to the goings on in that whole era, where to the US alone, over 17 billion naira worth of Nigerian crude undisclosed sale has been made. Of course, many Nigerians have been hearing about crude theft, but I suppose it's been blowing in the wind. Now it looks like you actually have stuff that could sort of ground an investigation. But the immediate question that comes to mind is that to transport crude out of Nigeria, it's not done with a bicycle. Maybe you could smuggle a bicycle across when people are not looking, but with the equipment, the ships, and all of that. So it seems to be pointing to a very elaborate syndicate of collusion to steal and defraud the country. That's just my guess. Can you hear me, Honorable? Honorable, do we still have sound? I think we lost sound.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
I said all of that seems to point to me to a very elaborate, complex cabal, if that is what it is called, of people cooperating so that ships, I mean, we're talking about tankers, oil tanker ships, will be needed to execute this theft. And that was being done. Whether in broad daylight, whether in the dead of the night, it's not really a clandestine operation. It seems to point to so many people being involved here as a cabal. That I was wanting your comment on that position. And is it important, by the way? Is it important all these years later?
Well, to throw more light to that, I think it takes two to tango. And I believe that for us to be able to monitor the crude oil leaving the soil of this country, there's no way the NNPC, Nigeria Custom, Nigerian Navy, NATI, the Office of the Accountant General, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, because we do have an account set up in New York. Citibank, of course. I am surprised to see that even some of the money, the crude oil sales today, even Bank of America, our money is Citibank, Bank of America. And to answer your question, really, there's no way you can use bicycle or keke napep to transport crude out of the soil of Nigeria. It is through shipment. And the metering, of course, the vessel before the vessel is loaded, it must pass through a process, through metering. Unfortunately, the meter, which of course they use in metering, purchased by the IOC, calibrated by them, operated by them, owned by them. What do you expect? So at the end of the day, you now begin to wonder what has happened to our dear nation. Now, let me take you somewhere. Let me just tell you now. In 2011, which we investigated at the House of Rep then, a session, NNPC declaration, 2011, 301,770,059 barrels at the average price of $111.90. Expected receipt, 33 billion, 768 million, $69,602 billions of dollars received. That's 2011. You go to 2012, $296,480,785. At the average price, $112.01 to a barrel. Total amount received for $33,208,812,727. $33 billion. Then 2013.
When you say receipted for,
hold on. Let me finish. Hold on, let me finish. 2013, barrels declared by NAPC, 267,120,559 barrels, with average price of $110.12. How much receipted for? 29,415,315,957. $29 billion. This is not naira. Then you now go finally to 2014. NAPC declaration of crude, the barrels, the total barrels of 2014, 270,719,199, with average price of $101.91. How much receipted for? $27 billion. 588,785,417 billions of dollars. This is the shocking news here. This is the shocking news. CBN confirmation receipt. 2011, CBN received 14 billion 345 million 650,183 billions of dollars. That's what they received. You go to 2012, CBN received 10 billion 184 million 830,742 billions. Now, in 2013, CBN confirmation receipt $8 billion 408,879,539. Finally, 2014, CBN confirmation $9 billion 810,551,946. Now, the total amount received by CBN from 2011 to 2014 was $42 billion 749,912,410.
Dollars.
This is dollars. This is the question that needs millions of answers. Now, if CBN and NAPC can explain to Nigerians and the world, don't forget the total amount of barrels from 2011 to 2014 was 1,136,090,522, with expected receipt dollars $123 billion 981,183,703. Okay. If CBN are telling us that they received $42 billion out of $123 billion, where is $81 billion 231,271,000 $293. I think Nigeria needs explanation. We do need explanation to this effect.
Okay. Well, you know, the first thing I want to ask is that all of these figures, all this information you've given us now, is this a matter of public record? Because when matters get into figures like this, then they go into reconciliation. Maybe you didn't understand that. Maybe you didn't get that. Where did you get this from? Well, you know, we need proof for that. So is this a matter of public record?
The burden of proof is not on me. The burden of proof is on NNPC to tell Nigerians what happened. Just like the NPDC situation. Of course, TVC will happen to have been there on that fateful day when we had a meeting with all the IOCs, NNPC, DPRO, NPDC, and other, local content, Nigerian local content. In Lagos, at DPRO's office, TVC was there, and I granted an interview. That was during the 8th session in Lagos, when NPDC, DPRO claimed NPDC were owing federal government $4.8 billion. $4.8 billion. Not EJ's making. DPRO told us that NPDC is owing the federal government $4.8 billion. When we investigated the matter, NPDC told us, yes, they have made an arrangement to pay that money back. What arrangement have you made? They said they have entered into understanding to pay $10 million back monthly. Okay, where are you going to be getting this $10 million back, that the money you are paying back, $10 million? Where are you getting it from to pay back? What happened to the $4.8 billion? And I could remember vividly, I was in my office when the then MD came to me and said, Honorable EJ, be careful. Those that are in business, in this matter, they are in high places. That you have family that, look, that was the day I told him, I am not afraid to say the way it is. Because the way we are now, seeing a crime be committed, refusing to report the scene of that crime to the nearest law enforcement, you are as guilty as the man or woman who committed that crime. I am not going to deviate from following to the latter. And we did. I want this night session to follow to the latter. They said they are paid $10 million back. As at 2017, how much have they paid back? And where did the money go? The $4.8 billion.
I've got to come in at this stage.
Where is it?
This is so very intriguing. I've got to go off on a break now. But okay then, welcome back, and our guest is Honorable EJ Agwaima. He was in the 8th National Assembly. He's a federal commissioner in the Code of Conduct Bureau, in fact, head of monitoring. And he's been telling us this intriguing, giving us an intriguing account. It's not new for those who follow this matter, but, well, the usual secrecy. I don't think anybody really knows how much, how many barrels of oil are going out, and that is by design, because people have long had a suspicion that our crude is being stolen, but now we are getting a bit more information, a bit more meat on the bone, and, well, it's gladdening that you say that this 9th Assembly has invited you, and that, I don't know if you said you've gone or that you are about to go, you will be going. But let me ask you, Honorable EJ, so what is how do we want to proceed with this? Because the lead counsel of Lumos, the engineering firm that knows about this, is one of them. The lead counsel had come here, did not get joy. you've told us in the first part of the program that the Nigerian lawyer that government sent went and started sabotaging all our matter over there. That's in addition to Diezeni Madueke not really wanting the investigation before she was overruled by then President Jonathan. So what do we expect to be able to get now? What are we going to do now? Are we going to shift this investigation over to the U.S.? Because in Nigeria here, they won't get any joy. No investigator is going to get any joy in Nigeria here. They won't cooperate. You've told us the lawyer that was sent by Nigeria, according to you, he was mucking things up. So is the idea now to shift this investigation, grab hold of those who received Nigerian oil that perhaps were not supposed to be receiving it, and then we start working from there, maybe even work backwards so that we can come back into the country? What's the game plan now, Honorable?
Thank you very much. I think and I believe we have to take a very serious step with high level of commitment. Taking this to America, taking the litigation to the United States of America would be the right thing to do at this moment. Because all the cases before Nigeria judiciary, up to now, nothing, no result.
No result.
Has not yielded anything.
But that's typical.
And I'm praying that the incoming government, if the outgoing government cannot conclude, because they have tried, at least they took these companies to court. So they cannot be the judge. They cannot be the lawyer. They engaged lawyers. The people were charged to court from 2016.
But there's no information for them to. There's no information to work with. Honorable, let me bring on one of our viewers.
These are charges. These are different charges. Different charges that the federal government did. Different charges. But
it's not going anywhere because nobody is talking.
No headway.
Suddenly, Ometa is in place.
The only way out, taking the litigation to the doorstep of the United States. Once we get to the United States, we'll get the right result.
Companies can be compelled over there to provide information, which I would have thought law is law and we can do it here, but experience has shown that that is not how it has worked, and so you've decided that now the thing to do is probably move over to America. Things work a bit differently, and maybe we'll get some joy there. In the meantime, Mr. George, thank you for holding on, and apologies to Mr. Yakub, who really held on for, I think somewhere like 10 minutes before he finally cut off. Mr. George, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yeri, and good morning to the true honorable.
Honorable EJ, for short.
He's a true honorable. All these honorables we hear. Honorable should be true actions. The actions of this man before you is truly honorable, and I commend him for it. Uncle Yeri, yesterday, thank you for bringing this topic today. It's a follow-up to what we were discussing yesterday. You know, yesterday, I was insisting that instead of removing fuel subsidy that will further impoverish Nigerians, we should remove the corruption in the fuel subsidy. And who supervises the fuel subsidy? Is it not the same NNPC that we are talking about here? The figures that this gentleman is talking about, on the amount of crude that has been stolen in Nigeria. Imagine if all that money was in our coffers. Would we have a poor man in this country? If you go into the administration of the subsidy, it is the same thing you will see. I can guarantee you that one. So it's good that this subject is coming up right now. I knew that by the time the president removed Magu as EFCC chairman, his anti-corruption war ended there. The issue that this gentleman is talking about now started 2016, he said. Between 2016 and now, they are just calling him to the National Assembly. I hope it will be a true call. It is not too late to look for our money that has been stolen and prevent further stealing. There are people, the amount of crude oil in question is not something you ask. It's not something you use wheelbarrows to pack away. They use ship. Is it a small person that can use ship to go and steal crude in the high sea? So there is a serious cabal that needs to be
a well-known conspiracy.
Yes,
a very well-known conspiracy. But
if this is the only thing the incoming president will do for Nigeria, let him do it. We will be behind him. And thank you once again, this honorable that is telling us these things.
Okay.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
Yes. Did you want to comment on that? If so, you can go ahead.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, yes. Did you have any comment on that? Because
okay, I want to appreciate the caller. I want to appreciate the caller. What his submission is well taken. I think by the grace of God, I pray that the incoming president will throw more light and hit the ground running, because there's no reason that we should be complaining in Nigeria that we are broke. This is what I have said over the years, that Nigeria is not broke. Nigeria is highly endowed with natural resources, mineral resources, human capacity. But unfortunately, we have derailed the wheel of progress. Some of these cabal have derailed the wheel of progress. Today, there's no hospital, no good hospital in this country, no good roads, no good healthcare system, no good educational system. The youth are unemployed as a result of someone that have decided to derail the wheel of progress, putting Nigeria in hardship. It is just too unfortunate that
but
this is happening to us.
Honorable
because we are our own worst enemy.
Yes, indeed. But it's not someone. It's a whole group of conspirators. Because I don't think one person could get away with this. In order to be able to, you can't do what has been done with a wheelbarrow. So in order for this to have been done, our guess, as people who are not as into it as you are, would be that there's a whole gang of conspirators who have been feeding fat for ever so long. And I imagine that they are not going to like what we are talking about now. They are not going to like that all of this is coming out now.
No, they don't like. Yes.
Let me ask, do you think that these monies owed to Nigeria are recoverable?
Definitely.
Okay.
They are recoverable.
In the meantime, I have that gentleman back who spent almost 15 minutes online and then had to cut off. Good morning to you, Mr. Yakub. Apologies and thank you very much for calling back in.
Good morning, sir.
Okay.
And good morning to Honorable.
Yes.
First and foremost, Honorable is somebody that I
morning.
follow when he was National Assembly. It is an upright person. I can say that for free. But I would say that I have some certain things to raise here. One, if Honorable can be able to do the investigation to let Nigerian citizens know who are those lawyers that the Nigerian government give job, and then they fail to do it and sabotage Nigerian citizens. That's number one. Number two, this is not just ordinary oil thieves. It is a global cabal based in Nigeria and outside this country. And then I just want incoming president, in person of Ashwad Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to have the political will to do the needful. And then, Mr. Yori, where is the civil society organization in this country to support the Honorable in this studio? Where is the civil society? Now, if you can recollect, Honorable said something, that one person came to his office and warned him, said that you have family, you have your life to live. You imagine that person say such. In fact, that person is also culpable because if you can be able to have both,
Of
so
course.
go and meet someone in his office. So be able to tell the person that he has family, what are you trying to say? You are trying to tell him to hang up,
But
to
Yakub,
not continue the
I hear
investigation.
you, Yakub,
So,
but
Honorable, I pray for you. God Almighty Allah will protect you. Please continue to push. Nigerian citizens behind you, even though we are not citizens of Facebook. We pray for you. God Almighty will guide you. Thank you and God bless you, sir.
thank you very much, Yakub, for
Thank you
calling
very
in.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
The known fact is where you have billions of dollars in the conversation, on the table, then it's going to be a matter of life or death. Anybody who is swimming in those waters knows that this is not going to be a stroll in the park. And so there's that aspect of it where people, that's why people are commending you, Honorable, that thank you for speaking up about this matter. You're a member of the Code of Conduct Bureau. You've been a legislator. You've been in the House of Representatives. And you also are head of monitoring at the Code of Conduct Bureau. And you've been in the middle of all of this. You've traveled to the U.S. You've been on it. It's not a matter of being on it for the past 7 weeks. This has been going on for quite a long while. And happily you say that it is something, you believe that our monies are still recoverable. And I think it's important to remind us that you are saying that all of this is just relating to the United States alone. But there are other countries too. Did I get you right there? There are other countries that our stolen oil arrives at.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning to you, sir.
Correct.
Mazi Okoroafo, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, you see, when we talk about oil theft, there are four questions. One, who are they? Two, for whom? Three, where to? Four, how manage?
How manage?
You cannot steal oil and put it inside your trouser pocket or skirt.
It's a conspiracy.
Them. Now, you ask yourself, 3 years from 2000 to date, the oil debt continue increasing. The best solution that this oil debt will just
we can't hear. Maybe they can give us a bit of volume from upstairs, please. Please carry on, Mazi.
Hello?
Yes, carry on, Mazi.
Yes. The moment we have electric car, the whole world, and the whole thing comes out to Nigeria, that is the only solution that will stop this oil theft. As long as we continue using oil to power certain things, to power our vehicles, oil theft will continue. Now, there is nobody that works, whether the NPC or work in the creek or in the offshore, upstream, downstream, any stream we call it, that is not thickly rich. These are the industry we call about juicy industry. So some big and Harry want to go to that juicy industry. So there's no thing you can stop it. Now, if you take around, research.
I think we lost Mazi there. But, we lost Mazi there. Honorable EJ, okay, have you been to the, you said is it the House of Representatives, the National Assembly has invited you, right, recently?
Yeah, I was there this past week.
Okay.
I went.
You were there.
Invited me.
And who were you presenting to? What committee?
Light.
What committee of the National Assembly were you was it of the House of Representatives?
It was an ad hoc committee.
An ad hoc committee
set up to investigate the 2.4 billion, stolen money that they were investigating, and which they invited me through the Code of Conduct Bureau, and they wrote the Code of Conduct Bureau through the chairman, Professor Mohamed Issa, who intimated me and directed that there's a need for me to present myself before the National Assembly, and I have to oblige.
Okay.
And
so you've done your presentation. You've done your presentation now.
I've done my presentation.
So what are we waiting for now? I mean, they're going to know that, consider it. What's the next step in brief? What's the next step? They now have to come back.
No, they wanted to get more facts and to throw more light to it and to help them in order to actualize their the aims and objectives, and the reason why the ad hoc committee happened to have been set up, at least to unearth and unveil to the Nigerian people where our money is. And that is just it's all about. And
I want to thank you very much. We've run out of time now, but I do believe, I beg your pardon for speaking over you. We've run out of time now, but thank you very much. I do believe that it's been very, very much worth it.
Before I go off the air, if I may say this, before I go off the air,
very, very briefly, please. Very, very briefly. Go ahead.
Now, let me say this, unfortunately, that the Niger Delta that produces this crude oil, it is state of comatose. The gas flood, the no payment of gas flood to the people of the Niger Delta is so saddening that today, money are being paid for gas being fled, but no individual from the Niger Delta have benefited. But none of those farmers can farm. The fishermen can no longer fish. To the detriment,
so who is being paid?
To the people of the Niger Delta. The NNPC.
I want to thank you. I absolutely NNPC. Okay, NNPC is being paid, but none of the individuals. I want to thank you very, very much, Honorable Ehiozua Agwayima of the Code of Conduct Bureau, Head of Monitoring there. Thank you very much, for speaking with us this morning. Really appreciate your coming on our program.